Hey, everybody, welcome back to I'll Make a Stay Out of You, the podcast with a name and that we remember to say on every episode. And it's a podcast about us learning to love Stray Kids and K-pop in general. Yay. Thanks, Stray Kids.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Oh, my God. Especially this episode. It was so good.
Yeah, today we're talking about episode 8, which was jam-packed with fun stuff. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about like the general sense, but we're going to talk about it after we play the intro right now.
I'll make a stay out of you.
Wakey, wakey.
Smooth. Very smooth of me.
Great transition.
I really am starting to master the segue, and not like the robot walker thing.
Yeah,
but,
is it standard podcast format to have an intro followed by the musical intro followed by us more talking, or like I feel like most podcasts I listen to do their intro song and then just roll right into it.
It depends. It depends on the episode and the podcast, because there are a lot of podcasts that I listen to that just do like straight up cold opens, like what we tend to do, where they just like are bullshitting and then they just like cut into the theme song.
Yeah.
And then they cut into doing an actual introduction of like, okay, yeah, here's the podcast. This is what it's about. This is blah, blah, blah. And then move on to what they're actually going to do for that day. So it depends. I don't know.
There's no cookie cutter.
rule.
Well, there is a format, but it doesn't have to be followed, and we obviously
don't
do what we want. So
yeah, TGDAF, and PDGAF,
PDGAF, TDGAF.
It sounds the same. It's gonna sound that nobody's gonna know the difference.
Yeah, if you don't know what DGAF means, just give it a quick Google. You'll figure it out.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. It's fine. We'll be all right. So, overall impressions. This was the busking challenge episode where we actually finally got to see them do the busking and then get judged on it. So, overall impressions on the episode. What do you think?
Okay, well, I mean, obviously, if you have joined us for the watch along, right, the second ever watch along or listen along, whatever. Generally like how we're feeling right now. But for the rest of the audience, oh my God, it was so good. I loved it. I could not be critical. I mean, there were some obvious mistakes, right? That we were able to call out and that they know happened. Like the kids know they happened, and like some of it you just. Man, you can't fucking help yourself, like if your voice, okay, so like Changbin's voice cracked in the first song.
Once.
Once. And like, dude, my voice cracks when I'm just talking normally, not even like performing, like I'm not putting on an act, I'm not singing, and my voice is just, hey, just goes up like that. Like, you can't fucking help that shit. And then Felix.
Oh yeah, man,
poor Felix. He was not able to get his balance while attempting to stand on two people's backs.
Yep.
Fucking shocker, right?
Yeah, because he's an incredible dancer. Like, that's his deal, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just totally blown away that like. He made that mistake, and you kind of go like, it had me going immediately like, did he make a mistake? Was he one of the people on the bottom in the last episode? Like, how long has it been since he's been criticized? Like, was it recent? I don't remember.
I
guess I have to rewatch the whole show.
No, he was part of the original elimination crew, right?
Yeah, he was in the original group because that's how he ended up in the 3-3-3, right? He was split into the groups of 3.
Yeah.
No, is that right?
I'm pretty sure he was. He was, right? Now I'm doubting I was like positive that he was one of the original.
No, it was Hyunjin. Wasn't it Hyunjin? Wasn't Hyunjin on the bottom in the first episode? Well, okay, all right. I'm gonna have to just
whatever. Who cares? The point
regardless,
he's received. If he wasn't part of the original elimination crew, he has at least received some stark criticism.
Definitely, yeah.
And I guess like,
and he was criticized in the 333. He definitely was, because they said like he didn't stand out, didn't have a personality, and like his raps sounded weird. They thought that it didn't have any emotion behind it.
So I'm gonna say something that may not it's not gonna come across. I'm not like, look, there's no beating around this. Okay, it's not gonna sound nice, and some people may be mad at me for saying this, but yeah, I mean. What did we lose?
An excellent dancer.
Okay, but they all have to be. They all have to be dancers.
Perfect. Right. They all have to be perfect.
So
yeah.
I don't know. Felix for me didn't do anything.
Yeah.
There's no aspect of Felix that stands out to me as something that needed to stay in Stray Kids. So yes.
What about the kiss?
Okay, I mean that was adorable and very funny. But other than that, what does he do for Stray Kids? I can't place it. There's nothing that I think Stray Kids is gonna miss with him being eliminated. Which, spoilers, he was eliminated in this.
He was eliminated. He was eliminated in this episode. Yes.
Now, and I was thinking that. Now, what sucks though, and I totally feel for him in this, is that the reason he was eliminated. I mean. Like, fair criticism across the board for like all of his mistakes and whatnot, but really what it came down to, it seemed like, well, like what JYP said was the reason he was eliminated is because he doesn't speak good Korean. And I'm like, damn, that sucks, man. Like, but it makes sense, right? And I don't think that is like, that's not necessarily his fault, because how long has he been in country? Like, not that long, right?
Not that long. We went over it, and he has not been in the country for long at all. Like. He wasn't in Korea. He got to Korea the year they recorded this show.
Right.
So like he hasn't been at JYP. He hasn't been in country and learning Korean for that long. Which I mean, kind of goes to JYP's point, right? Is he's just like, well, like you're not there yet.
You're not ready.
And it doesn't make sense. I mean, he said basically the same thing about Minho. Is like you just haven't been training long enough. Like
right.
So you're just not ready for it, and we wouldn't. His concern is that if we push forward and let you debut, will you hold back the group?
Right.
Because you're still trying to get up to speed.
Right.
And like, I don't know. Like in some ways, I think like, okay, well, it's not. I feel like it's more to ask from Minho's side of like he doesn't think you're good at singing and your performance was bad. Like. That is more to ask than what his criticism of Felix is. I mean, obviously he made a mistake during the Busking show, but in general he did pretty good at the Busking show.
Yeah.
And you know, JYP, like the thing that they don't show on this show at least, but I've seen it in a different Survival show that he did, was that like it's not just his feedback, right? And we see a little bit of it in this episode where he gets some feedback from a couple of other people, but like they're the people who are teaching them, who are working on them, like their dance teachers, their vocal teachers, like stuff like that, they provide their feedback too.
Oh.
So
okay.
JYP, because JYP, like they had said in the previous episode, like he hadn't sat down and had breakfast with Chan in 7 years.
Right.
So like he's not on the day-to-day like seeing how they're progressing. So he has to get that information from somewhere. So the place he gets it from is the staff that works with them every day on seeing how they're practicing and stuff. And so like when we got to JYP's criticism of Felix, like he didn't say like you can't rap, you can't sing, you can't dance. Like he said your rap doesn't come through as if you understand the lyrics because you can't speak the language well yet. So he thinks that he can rap because he does the words, but it doesn't have the emotion that you would expect, the inflection that you would expect based on, whatever the subject is. So like yeah, that makes 100% sense. But like, he's also like by omission saying like, well, everything else you do is great. Like
Yeah.
everything else is great. You
Right.
did great well dancing. Like sure, you made a mistake, but like you did well dancing, you do well singing, you do well rapping. It just doesn't come through because when you rap, like you don't understand what you're saying. So you're just saying words. You're just making sounds with your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Here's a question, right? That
Yeah.
maybe you can answer immediately, or maybe we'll bench it for Tom's question corner on the next episode.
Sure.
What is the typical group size of a boy band?
I think it varies, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Because it got 7. I think has 7 members. But I think 2 PM, which one of the people who judged them was from 2 PM, has more members. I think they have 9 or more members.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen some that have like 11. Like The Boys, I think has 11 members, which I think is just unwieldy. Like
yeah.
at that point, I just don't know like how because The Boys was in Kingdom. The Boys was one of the groups that was in Kingdom. Sorry to bring Kingdom up again, but it's just
Here we go
it's
again.
but it's just like how I am familiar, and so like
Yeah.
throughout the course of the show, you know, because you get to see all of their performances, and they do like this kind of stuff throughout the show where they kind of show like where they're coming from and like how that, you know, all of this. And so you get to know some members of some groups, and like there was a group in that show that had 4 members, and I know them all intimately at this point. Like,
Right.
I know their names. I can tell them by face, by voice sometimes, like who is which member. But when it comes to The Boys, there's like 11 people. Like you
Yeah.
just can't. There's no way. And so like if you're a fan of The Boys, that's fine. But like I imagine you have a bias, and you're like, this is this person, and maybe eventually you'll get to know all the members, right? Maybe that's a thing that'll happen. But I feel like somebody's gonna get lost in the mix. Like
Right. Okay. So let me jump in here, right? Because this is
Yeah.
exactly my point. Like, this is why I asked this question, because maybe the reason that I don't really care much for Felix is because there was 9. Now there's 8 of them. Now there's 7. Right. Like that's a lot of people, man. Like you have to be extra special to stand out among so many people. Right. And so maybe it's not that Felix is like bad. It's just that he's not he's not bringing anything to Stray Kids specifically because there are other people that are overshadowing him, right? Or or that just bring it better, or whatever, or that I just happen to like more, right? I mean, like obviously, like, I've got my, not really my bias, I guess. I mean, maybe it is, but like, you know, like Chan, I like Changbin. I especially like Woojin and Jongin, you know, like those are the 4 that stand out to me, right?
Yeah.
Because they have very memorable, like, I don't know, like I've connected with them in the things that they've done and like what they've been doing, and like, I mean, obviously, like Changbin is just sexy, so like,
sexy Changbin. You heard it here first, everybody. So I did a quick Google, and on average, boy groups have 5.9 members, and girl groups have 5.27.
See,
so
that is manageable. That
right.
I mean, I just named the 4 people that stand out to me for Stray Kids.
Yeah.
It's not that the others don't do anything. It's that those are the 4 that I'm like looking at, and I'm interested in them. And so when you start if you keep adding names to that, like I don't care about those because I got my 4, you know?
Yeah. And some of that I imagine is lost in the edit, right? In Survivor, you'd call it the purple edit.
Okay.
I'll explain is that like I mean, we go off topic all the time, so it's fine. You know, I watched a ton of Survivor, and then now Survivor related content, and the fan community behind Survivor has this thing called a purple edit, where like there was a season where there were 2 girls named Kelly, and rather than calling like one Kelly and then one by her last name, one went by Kelly and the other one had like a slight purple tint in her hair, and so they called her Purple Kelly. And that was like the name they went with. But then the thing is that like she basically just disappeared into the background, for like 5 or 6 episodes. And then on the 7th episode, suddenly she had like 2 confessionals and then got voted out. Like, and that's the purple edit where like they just know, like they know because they're editing the show where it's going to go. And so they go, okay, well, you know, the story we want to tell isn't really going to involve this person. So their time gets cut down.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
I see. So it's not that they intentionally failed to record anything about Purple Kelly. It's just that
exactly
in the editing process they were like, well, she gets eliminated, so what do we fucking care?
Right. They only have an hour, and like if she wasn't super compelling, I guess, in her confessionals. So, you know, there are definitely people in the past of Survivor who like went out not early, but like about midway through the show, and but were interesting when they would talk to the producers when they have like their side confessionals, and so like they got more airtime. So it doesn't mean like you have to make some big moves in the game or whatever to like get a good edit, but like it's just the story that the editors are telling. If you don't fit into that story, then there's no reason for them to show you very much. So it's just how it works. Like, I don't know. So some of this, like what we're talking about with Felix, is like we saw him, you know, obviously doing the stuff like when they had their 3-3-3 and he was hanging out with Changbin on the side of the Han River. Like, oh, you know what? Actually, I think it was Changbin, it was Felix, and it was Minho. They were the ones that were together. Anyway,
was it Minho?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Now I'm gonna have to go back and check. I'm pretty sure, but now I'm second guessing myself because of you.
I'm sorry.
How dare you? It's okay.
I'm sorry.
No worries. No worries. It's fine.
I am genuinely apologetic.
It's fine. Is it? But like, you know, it's just it's just like it's just possible that, you know, we just needed to see exactly that, like that we needed to see more of Felix to be able to
care,
you know, to care more, to see more of who he is, because like we saw him really early, but that was it. Yeah, it was Minho. It was Minho, Changbin, and Felix were all in a group together.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah. I finds it. So, you know, anyway, regardless, like, yeah, it was sad. And let's go through the beats of the episode, shall we? So
sure.
The episode starts and they are getting to the busking stage. They're already there because like the end of the last episode, they kind of showed that a little bit. And they're like peeking around and going like, did anybody come? Like, like they were worried that there weren't going to be people, right? Because like who, you know, they had a lot of people watch their first music video, Elevator, but like, are people going to show up to their busking show on the street? It's cold, whatever. Like, and they get there and they find out that it's way more people than they expected. And everywhere they look, it's completely full of people. And so a bunch of fans turned up, and that kind of like spikes the anxiety for some of the members, obviously. But they instantly start doing pretty well at interacting with the crowd. Bangchan is like wonderful at connecting with people and being a good host and everything, which is awesome.
Yeah.
The thing that the first time I watched it and now, right, I noticed like, as they're like going through and they're like the members are like introducing themselves or whatever, like Chan is being very personable. He's very confident and stuff. And he's delivering this whole message about like, oh, thanks for coming. We really appreciate you. I know it's cold, but I hope you're staying warm, blah, 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 all this stuff. Right. And then they start going down the line and then Woojin leans over to Chan and he's like, hey, Jun K's over there from 2 p.m. Jun K is right there.
Yeah.
And he points out like that, who the people are judging them and that they're there. Like they know that they're having like secret listeners to like check them and see how they do at the busking stage. And it's just like, how dare you?
Oh my god, I know, right? Like,
why would you do that? Like, even if you notice, like, why would you like lean over and be like, hey, you seem like you're doing pretty good, but how about some stress? You want some stress right now? Because I'll tell you, like, hey, check it out.
Oh my god. I was thinking the exact same thing, and I knew. It's so funny that you mentioned that, because, like, oh my god, if I did that to you, like, if you were Big Chan in this situation, and I was Woojin, I would get the fucking death glare from hell.
Why would you do that? I didn't need this stress.
Shit, you gave me the death glare when I asked for more cheese at a fondue restaurant, so I can only.
Yeah, because that costs money. Yeah, I don't know. That was true. I did do that. You feel like there's a social contract. People need to accept it.
I don't believe in the social contract.
I know you do. I know you don't. And apparently neither does Woojin, because, like, what the fuck, man? Like, this is a stressful situation. People are trying not to get it eliminated, and you're gonna put extra pressure on top because you're just like, hey, just see. And then, of course, I love that, like, Jisung is next to them, and they're talking, and he realizes that they're there as well. Yeah. And then he's like trying to spread it around also, which I'm just like, what's wrong with you? And he tells Changbin, who's next to him, and then Changbin leans over to tell Woojin, and Woojin's like, yeah, I already know.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Yeah. Unbelievable. The amount of stress that immediately suddenly spikes when he realizes it's Jun-K, and maybe we'll as we've done with a couple of other episodes, and maybe we'll watch like a 2 p.m. music video, because like 2 p.m. is a previous boy group from JYP, and so it kind of gives you some idea of the kind of content that was produced before Stray Kids. And like they're I don't even know if are they 3rd gen or 2nd gen. I'm not sure, because GOT7 is 3rd gen and they're older than that, but like they're old enough to where they have members who are in the military. So
okay,
because like, you know, like they're all conscripted, right? They all have to do it by a certain age. And so, and that's true for pop stars as well. Boy groups anyway. Girls don't go yet. There's some talk about trying to get them into the military, but hasn't happened yet. But regardless, so eventually boy groups usually do it either like a few members at a time will go and do their service and then come back to the group, or everybody will go. That's what, like, for BTS, like, their fans want everybody to go at once so that they just like leave and then come back all together after 2 years, because they don't want like subgroups, because that's basically what happens is like if you have a few members who go off to the military, then you still put out content and stuff, but as a smaller group, right? And that's it. So then you're looking at like, oh, this is the album where Woojin and Changbin weren't there, right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. It'll be content like that, and you know, the K-pop groups, they put out a ton of content, and you know, I know I mentioned this off recording, but like Jeanette has been putting together a giant list of all of the Stray Kids content. Yeah. And one of the things that she realized as she was putting it all together is that like it appears that they put out some piece of content, either like a reality show or like a Q&A or a new song, whether it is one that's going to be on an album or not, every single week. Like every week. So it's not even like that seems like more excessive than what I had imagined, I think.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. And some of the times, and this is actually something I really like about it, is like they'll release a song, like they just released a song this week, and it's just 2 members who did the song. So like it's not like the entire group has to be involved in everything. So they can kind of split up duties. They can have like 2 members make a song together, and it's cool because you get to see like a unique side of those 2, and you get to hear like kind of a unique sound. It's great. And then they'll have other things where, you know, they're like they go out and ask questions or whatever, or maybe they'll go out to eat and they'll show that, whatever. So lots of content, and maybe they'll split up which groups of people do what together, so that you don't necessarily have one person, probably just the leader, but you don't necessarily have one person that's in every single segment. So people get breaks, not everybody is releasing content every week, but yeah, it's crazy. Also, this has nothing to do with the episode, but
what's new?
I wanted to check something, right?
Okay.
I just wanted to see how it worked and everything. We talked about it before. So I subscribed to Bubble.
Okay.
The messaging app where like you can message one of the members of the group and they message and reply to everybody. We talked about it a couple times on the show. And what I can say definitively is that it's not for me. So
why?
Okay, all right. But for one thing, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to normal people in conversations, right? So I just feel like when I do send a message, I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, all right. Here, let me go up. Okay, so, and one of the other things is that like they, it does auto translations, so sometimes things are just lost in translation. But okay, here's what they said. I'll just give you, because I'm gonna give you it with a message I sent back, right? They said, "Oh, I'm sleepy. Good morning," and then I said, "Have a nice Americano," which I know from previous content that's like their drink of choice, right? So I just said, "Have a nice Americano," like, right, because you're sleepy. And then here are the rest of because I didn't reply again because I just like, I don't know, man. These are the rest of the messages for the day. Did you eat? Stir-fried beef. I ate too. I ate both some. It's been a while since I've had a cafe latte. I have to eat dinner. Didn't you eat? That was the entire day. And I'm like, all right, man. I'm happy that you get my $4, but this isn't for me.
I am so confused. What was all of that?
Yeah, exactly. They just, because they're like, I imagine that other people who are not me are, when the artist says, "Did you eat?" a bunch of people replied and said what they ate,
Yeah.
And then somebody must have said stir-fried beef, because then the artist goes, "Stir-fried beef?" because somebody must have had stir-fried beef. So, or more than one person had stir-fried beef. And so they replied to that, but I get to see it. And then I didn't reply to stir-fried beef like, "Oh my God, that sounds great," or whatever. Like, I didn't say anything. So it doesn't sound like a conversation. You know what I mean? It's weird. That is the weirdest part about it, is like, if you're not somebody who is engaging in this, and I don't know, the other thing is like, I don't know how you could, because there's a really strict character limit. Like, it's like 12 characters.
Oh.
Like, you don't get a lot that you can type.
So,
like you
so I
say,
couldn't
like,
DM Chongbean and be like, "Hey man, straight guy here. Love your raps. You're sexy. HMU."
Right. Yeah, you could not do that because well, you could, but the thing is that, so you're limited on characters per message, and then you're also limited to 3 messages per day.
Oh wow. You can't pay for more microtransactions, baby.
No. No.
I guess it's so you can't buy your way into a friendship with a K-pop star.
Right. Like, and when you sign up, like, part of their terms of use is like, you may not send anything to the artist that would be detrimental to their personality, health, or well-being. And so like you're literally, you can't say anything mean. You probably can't say anything critical. You probably can't say anything that's overly like touchy-feely, like you or explicit. Like there's a ton of flexibility in that for them to be like, no, sorry, like that's going to affect the mental health of the artist. We can't have you sending that message. So done. Like you don't get to send messages anymore. Like, I don't know. So like everything is just small talk. And if there's one thing you know about me is like, I hate small talk.
Yeah.
Like why would I, and so I literally had like looked into like, I think I need to find out what my like password is and stuff so I can just give it to Jeanette because I have it for the whole month. So I'm not really going to use it. I don't know. It's fine. I'm sure that people enjoy it, and especially people who are in Korea. Oh, they sent a picture. Oh, cute. All right. Well, never mind. Maybe I'll keep it. Anyway, so yeah, Bubble is interesting, but not for me. Maybe for my wife, but maybe it's too much for that too. But all right. So yeah, Junkei is this like really great songwriter, and he's like the leader of 2PM, and he's hot as hell. So it's hard to tell because he's wearing a big overcoat, right? Like and a hat and big sunglasses. But I'll show you this music video called Heartbeat, and you'll just be like, what the fuck? Like it appears as if they did not drink any water for at least 2 days.
Oh, okay.
And had 0% body fat. You know what I mean?
Had the Witcher diet.
Dude, it's crazy. But yeah, I'll show you. We'll watch a music video and then we can, comment on it later or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's great. And I think that 2PM, it's a different kind of music, really. It's more poppy than what we hear a lot from Stray Kids. And the other guy who's doing the feedback is a songwriter. And then they have a couple of music journalists who are in attendance as well. And I imagine if you're an entertainment journalist evaluating them, then like you're probably not able to recognize them as readily as you would like somebody who works for your company, right?
Yeah.
But but it's pretty crazy. So then they jump back in time because this is like classic Stray Kids survival show, right? They did it again. They jump back in time to discuss like, okay, have an ice Coke, have an ice cold Coca-Cola, and discuss like what songs are they going to perform. So initially, of course, everybody agrees they have to do Elevator because like that's the song that the public knows the best because it has a music video. So we gotta have that.
Right.
People are gonna love it, and then but they'll have to restructure it because they originally wrote it for 9 people, and Minho is gone. So they need somebody to pick up his part. And his part used to be Hyunjin's part. And so Hyunjin just got the part back.
Yep.
So we'll see how well he did at that. Picking it back up. He worked really hard on it. They should definitely show that he put the work in to try and do it well. But, busking is a hard situation. You're in front of like people, right?
Yeah. Right. Totally.
So they rework it, and then they show the busking performance of Elevator. They cut right to it so we can see the performance. We get a lot of performances in this episode. So what did you think of Elevator as it was performed here? This is like, we've now seen it in the show, in the music video, and this is our 3rd time seeing Elevator. How do you feel about it?
It's good.
It's good.
I mean,
elaborate. Explain yourself.
What do you want from me? It's like, not my favorite, right?
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Like, okay, so it's not your favorite. That's good. There's not that many. There's not that many songs yet, so that is interesting. Yeah. I mean, like, how do you think they did? Like, I think their performance in general, I think went pretty well.
Yeah. No, okay, yeah, okay. If you're talking about like my opinion of their rendition,
this performance of it,
yeah, this performance. No, they did really well, right? The only thing that really stood out to me was, of course, like Changbin's like voice squeak, which sucks.
Right? Yeah. He did. Yeah, this was the song. I'm surprised he didn't do worse, considering this was also the song where his like microphone cable fell off and was just hanging down, and he did the entire performance with it just hanging around his legs. It was just flapping around in the wind.
He did very well in like composing himself throughout that entire situation, because like I don't know, what I would have liked to see from him, which maybe I'm expecting a lot, because I want him to do cool things because he's so fucking cool. I wanted him to like flick it up and like reattach it like mid song. You know what I mean? Like, oh, would have been so cool.
Yeah.
But he didn't, you know what?
I think that would be, I would almost be harder, because like, you know, when they plan out their choreography, they are doing, like, there are definitely times in some songs where some of the members are not fully active, like sitting on the sidelines, and then they jump back in.
Yeah.
And if he had a moment like that, he might have been able to like take a second to like shove it back in his pocket or whatever.
Right.
But I don't think he did. And, you know, if he's in the middle of the choreo, then he can't really break like out of his movement, because they plan and map out every single movement, every arm movement, everything. So,
yes.
Yeah.
No, I get it. And all I'm saying, like, but imagine, like, put this in your head, okay, for a second. Picture this. Picture that Changbin is so cool that he has the choreography mapped out, and he's doing everything perfectly on time, exactly how it should be, and fixing his microphone at the same time.
Yeah.
That is what I envision, and that's what I want for Changbin.
Yeah.
I want him to make mistakes look cool.
Well, it didn't happen, so sorry.
Yeah.
Fantasy
ruined. Thanks, Changbin.
Sorry, Changbin.
No, it's totally fine, because like the most important. We talked about this in another episode when I was talking about like how I used to be in concert band. You know, like the most important factor of that is that he did not let it affect his performance, which is huge, right? So like props to him. He got through it great. It was totally fine. And I don't even think he was criticized for that. So
yeah, he didn't get criticized for his voice cracking at all. So, you know, I mean, maybe he did and they cut it because there was so much criticism that they didn't have time to fit it into the show.
I'm sure.
But he knew what he did wrong, and the rest of it, you know, goes well. I just clicking through it, a few other mystery guests arrived once they started performing. We got one of the members. We got two members from GOT7 showed up in the green room to watch from back there, and then two members from Day 6. And Day 6 is another. They're both JYP groups, because of course, like, if they're doing a survival show, they're gonna have people who work for JYP, because they can't say no, and you know, like, it's just, you know, you don't have to pay any extra really to.
But
like,
I mean, it's free advertisement for those other groups too, which is
for those other groups too.
JYP.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Day 6 is interesting because they're a rock band. Like, they play instruments and stuff. So I found that to be really, really fascinating. Once I found, it's really interesting that like they're like a rock band that was put together by JYP, and they play all their own instruments and stuff. They're really great.
That is interesting. That's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know they did that.
Yeah, it's So I don't know. Maybe we'll watch We'll watch a 2 p.m. music video. We'll watch a Day 6 music video, and that'll be interesting. So maybe a GOT7. We'll do a threefer. I don't know if you quite caught it though. One of the members of GOT7 who was in the back was Bam Bam, and he was the guy that like was really close friends with Chan and who debuted before him. He was the guy who was in that the video against YG that we saw, that had the hat. So he's all grown up now, obviously, because he was so young in that video. But like, he was there, which was pretty cool. Let's move ahead to the next song, because the Busking Mission had 3 songs. So the next song, they jump back in time again. They talk about arranging school life, and Jung-in is feeling more confident than ever. Everybody's telling him like, yeah, your vocalizations are like really stable. Like he's more confident than we've seen him the entire show. I don't know what it was that like let him finally get comfortable. Maybe it was performing one song twice, and that just like allowed him to like know that he could do it. But man, like I agree. Like even in Elevator, he stood out as being like really confident in his lines, even though he still only had like 2 lines. Like he was really confident, really clear. His tone was good. Like everything sounded good to me. So they arrange it for 8 people. They're having a good time in the practice room and everything. And then they get to the performance. They have a they all lay down. They do the whole choreo. What'd you think of School Life?
Dude, I love School Life. It is such a fun song. And I mean, I think I was already in a good mood going into it. For multiple reasons, like not the least of which is that I already know that I like the song, right? But like, oh, he's just so cute, you know? And and I think the if his thing is gonna be like being the cute member, right? And being adorable, the nervousness, you know, that he expresses like just adds to it, right? It is like it's
for sure.
It's he can't go out there and be like confident. He has to have a shaky voice. He has to be a little bit nervous to pick up the microphone because like that is endearing and it adds towards what his role is in the group.
But his performance itself, like what like when he's like talking to the crowd and stuff, all of that is there. But when he started to perform with School Life, he's so perfectly clear. He did such a great job. Like
the performance itself cannot have flaws, but but part of the performance outside of songs is that he has to play into the I'm nervous and shy and cute, you know.
And it's so funny. Like they would cut to like women in the crowd, tons of women in the crowd, and who were all like, oh, every time he would make any face, smile, oh,
he would say,
like, and everybody's like, oh my god, he's so cute. It's so funny. He did such a good job of being who he's supposed to be for the group, and the whole crowd was like sucked into exactly him. Like everybody's just like, okay, like we get this guy. We love him specifically. So it's pretty funny. Yeah,
he's doing great. He's doing great at being cute.
He's doing great. I thought everybody else did a great job in School Life too. There were no real mistakes. Everybody had fun. They were confident. Like I thought it was really good. Yeah.
And one of the things that I called out like during the watch along is that maybe I'm wrong. Like if I go back and watch the original performance from the 333, like maybe they did all that, but I mean maybe I got to hear all of that. I know the performance was different because they did it with 8 people this time as opposed to 3. But there was more to the song than I feel like I had heard, and that was nice.
Yeah, there's definitely. I think they definitely added more lines to it, or like another verse or something. But like, it was different. It was different because like the feeling of it was different because they were connecting with the audience and having fun. Whereas like when they performed it in the 333, like they were just doing it for JYP. There's no audience. There's no nothing. So like you can definitely tell that they were able to really connect and be, idols for that. Like they were able to be a boy group and act as if they were a debuted boy group. Like people loved it and they fed into that energy. And so like it looks so much better because of that. It's really pretty incredible. Yeah. But out of this, almost everyone was just focused on Jung-in like that. It's just it's really his song. It makes sense. But yeah, people loved him and it was great. So, and it's for his part of it, like it's just it makes sense, right? Like totally. Like he's the cute one, and this is the cute song, and it's
Yeah.
fun. It's easygoing. However, the next song is one of my favorite songs still to this day. I love this song. It's called Ya Ya Ya. And it's so good. It's so good. So they are working really hard on like a really tight choreography because they jump back in time to kind of go over like how they made this new song. And of course, some of the problem here is that it is a new song. And so they're developing a new song for this part. And that means that people are going to be unfamiliar with the words, and the prep time is going to be short, and they still have to practice the other two songs. But at least those songs have been performed by some of the members before, right? So
Yeah.
like, they're able to kind of call back to that and make adjustments where needed. Whereas like this one is going to be their first time. They don't have a choice. They have to do it perfectly the first time.
Yeah.
And that's always harder. It's going to put a lot more pressure on. So even if you practice well, you may not do well in the performance.
Yeah.
So everybody wants to do their best. Everybody's working super hard. And then they go to, and especially they focused a lot on Felix, which is like total, like what I was talking about, like Survivor purple edit. Like suddenly it's been a few episodes. We haven't really heard specifically much about Felix other than being there sometimes. And it's like, because the story in this episode is going to be more focused on him. So they're giving him more airtime when they're covering this specifically, because this is the song where he makes his dancing mistake.
Yep.
So, general impressions. What'd you think of Ya Ya Ya? It's one of my favorites. I love it. What'd you think?
Well, now I feel like if I say that it's not one of my favorites,
you can have,
you're gonna...
yeah,
No.
you can have whatever opinion.
No,
you
I
want.
like it. I don't know, obviously, enough Stray Kids songs to really make a determination, but of the... What am I up to now? 3? 4?
Okay, you've heard Hellevator 4419,
Right.
Glow,
Yeah.
and School Life, and now Ya Ya Ya. So
Okay,
5.
five,
We're up to
okay.
5 songs.
Well,
Yeah.
obviously, I don't remember Glow at all.
You liked Glow. That was Chongbean's song.
Okay, well, I
Yeah.
like Glow. Yeah, Glow is great. Glow is awesome.
It's fine. You don't have to remember. It's fine. Because you know what? In a couple of weeks, when we finish watching the Survival Show, you have a copy of Mixtape, the pre-debut album, which has all of these songs on it.
Yes.
And you'll be able to listen to it. So,
Dude,
you know.
yeah, Anna's not even keeping it safe. It's on the kitchen table. I could go open it whenever I want.
Don't do it. There's one more song
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I also love. The reason I like this song, right, is because
Sure.
like a lot of the other songs that are in the show are trying out a lot of different sounds. Like they're trying a lot of different things, and they continue to experiment as time goes on. But when I think of like a song that sounds like Stray Kids to me, it's Ya 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 and the next one.
Oh, okay.
So there are actually, I think there are actually 2 more songs in the show, and I like them both, and they both are like exemplary of like the types of songs that Stray Kids makes. But like this is a song, I think Ya 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 and the next one, I'm just like, man, like this is Stray Kids.
Okay.
Because I think that you'll hear kind of like when we watch the other boy groups, and more so 2PM and GOT7 than Day 6, because Day 6 is a rock band, but like you'll kind of understand maybe more of like, oh, like Stray Kids has a different sound. They are not like a typical boy band sound from in K-pop. Like
Okay.
they are different. So yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, it's good.
Yeah.
I like it. So, and I'm sure you like it, right? Right.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like,
No, I wasn't saying that it's not my favorite. I
Right.
was just joking that like you're gonna be mad if it's
Yeah.
not, you know.
yeah.
But no. So I guess the problem that I have, right, is that let me circle back to Glow.
Okay.
Is Glow? I have heard once ever.
Right.
So cut me some slack on not remembering.
No,
it,
no,
okay?
for sure. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Same thing for 4413 or whatever.
4419.
Yeah, the bus song.
It's
Is
one
that
that
a
goes like-
bus?
Yeah, is it a
It
bus?
says bus, JYP. Yeah.
It goes
okay,
da 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 da
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
all right.
4419.
So here's the deal with Yeah. Like I said,
Yeah.
I haven't heard enough. I've heard 5 songs.
Sure.
One of which I've heard 3 times now, and
Right,
the
yeah.
other I've heard twice. So I don't have a great basis for what is Stray Kids, what is their sound, like all these points
Right,
that you're
yeah,
bringing
yeah.
up about it.
That makes sense.
I like it though, but I want to know what else they have to offer before I come to a determination about that.
Yeah. So let's talk about what I assume was your favorite part of the song, right? Because Changbin's rap.
Yeah, this is his song, right? This is his.
Is definitely he loves dark. It's a darker song. When he goes pop 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 pop, like it's so good. His voice is an instrument. Like that's the thing that is crazy because like a lot of people can rap, but when he raps, it sounds like music.
Right.
I don't know how to express it other than that. Like it sounds like he's playing an instrument, but it's his voice. It sounds so unique, and the way that he uses his words and exclamations, like he just really he's so good.
Mm-hmm.
He's great.
Yeah.
And it, of course, surprised everybody. And then there was the part of the choreography where Felix was supposed to stand up on 2 members' backs, and he just lost his balance and kind of fell off, and then he clambered back up on them and was unstable that time as well, and then hopped off. It was just did not go well.
Yeah.
It did not go well. That's a problem. Like
It's just sad. But I mean
it stood out
hard.
Everybody kept going. He kept going. Like he was still stable at singing and everything. Like it was obvious, obviously, but like he maintained his composure on his face. He didn't freak out and stop dancing. Like he kept going. He did what he was supposed to do.
Totally.
But it's just that he's supposed to also not make any mistakes. So that's the problem.
At least if you're gonna make a mistake, don't make it so damn obvious.
Oh my god, it was it was a big one because he's literally above everybody's heads.
Yeah.
So of course. I don't know. It's just
I guess it's just as somebody who has performed live before.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where if I saw that, I'd be like, oof, that sucks, but whatever. But a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh, he made a mistake,
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And JYP was one of those people. Okay. My favorite part of the performance, right, is it's a street performance, right? So they don't have any special effects and stuff, but they get to that final yeah, and they all reach into their pockets and pull out a bunch of confetti and throw it in the air to the beat. It was so perfect. Yeah. I thought that was amazing. They did such a good job with it. Oh totally. Man. There have been other times where I've I want to see that scene again. I want to feel what that feels like to watch that again.
Yeah.
And so I will literally go and seek it out on YouTube, just watch that performance start to finish and see them do it. And I'm just oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the new song. That was Yeah. And obviously mistakes were made. But the crowd was super into it. Everybody loved it. Everybody's still drawn to Jongin because he's adorable. Even in this darker song. And at the very end, they're all posing. Everybody looks serious. Changbin looks dark. Felix is looking dark. Everything, everything's serious. But Jongin has this giant smile on his face. It's really funny.
Yeah. Oh,
so
he's
good.
So cute. But Changbin, man. Oh yeah. This was a song for Changbin to really shine and shine.
I'll give you not a spoiler, but a hint that the other song that I really like that's gonna be in the finale is also a Changbin song.
Nice.
So nice. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Oh yeah.
So they close out the show by talking about how it was hard when they lost Minho and that he was unable to continue. The people in the crowd looked super sad. They were like really sad about it and saying like and the members of course look sad, and of course Sungmin goes, "We'll work harder," so that his elimination wasn't for nothing, and not knowing where the episode was about to go.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah, they wanted to debut as a full group, and so they say goodbye. JYP meets with the judges. Oh, I guess they met with the people backstage. They met with the other attendees, and one of the members of Day 6 talks about like how like the first time that they did busking, he couldn't properly talk to the crowd, and they were like totally smooth about it, and so he was really impressed by that. Thought it was great. And I think a member, maybe Bam Bam from GOT7, basically said that like they made mistakes when they went busking, like it didn't go well. Like so I don't know. Like it's interesting. So then they go and they meet with JYP, and it becomes suddenly interesting and a lot more cold, because rather than being there and judging it in the crowd and feeling the energy in the situation, they're just watching a video and listening to the mics as they were recorded. And so every mistake stands out. Everything is visible. Like they can see everything, and my God, did it immediately switch and get harsh, because like literally at the beginning when they were just talking before they started watching, like the music producer guy was like, I was super impressive. They were like a debuted group already who was out promoting. Like they looked good. And then as they start watching it, suddenly then the criticisms start falling out, and they try and hide, who is being talked about, saying like, this guy, I don't know what his part in the group is. Like he doesn't stand out. Like who is he? Like I don't get his place in the group, which turned out to be Hyunjin.
Really?
Which is they cut back to it, and then of course they say like somebody who's like lyrics, like they were too excited and lyrics were hard to hear. And I think that Jun K says like, like when we did busking, you can't help but be exciting. And then he also says that like, if you don't forget your lyrics, then that's as best as you can hope for. And then JYP says this is the first time they saw fans with their own eyes. Yeah. And then at that point, the producer guy was like, oh, well, like in that case, it all makes sense that they would, this is their first performance in front of public. Yeah, it makes sense. It's amazing how well they did.
Right.
But then they go, but they overdid it. They overdid their lyrics. They overdid everything. And then they start just criticism, like down the line. Everybody's getting criticized. So they cut to what is like one of the longest, most dramatic like criticisms that they've had in the show so far. Yeah. Because like normally JYP likes to sandwich like compliments and criticisms, right? But that did not happen in this episode.
It was very cold. He even said himself, like, today I'm going to be cold. Yeah. It was rough. It was rough to watch. I'm sure it was rough to experience there, especially for Felix, But I think the most important takeaway, though, for Felix, like, I mean, I don't know where what he's up to these days, but the most important takeaway for Felix is that he's fine. He just needs to fucking learn Korean.
He just needs to learn Korean. He just needs to
That's it.
Really spend all of his time for the next like month practicing Korean.
Yeah.
Like if he can do that, then like he'll be ready soon.
Yeah.
Like
quality leadership from Bang Chan also at the end when he was like, you will call me because I'm not leaving you behind. Like whatever you need, you let me know. Like, dude, what a stand-up guy. And like, that he meant it, right? He wasn't just bullshitting. Like that's his friend, and he's gonna look out for him.
They're both from Australia,
right?
So they have like a deeper understanding, and to them, like, they can speak English to each other, and they understand each other's accents, and they both grew up there and went to school there, and so like their youth is totally different from like Jisung is the same way because he grew up in Malaysia, where he doesn't really understand the childhood of being in Korea, but the other members do, and so like they all have that in common and can understand each other from that perspective.
Yeah.
But like for Chan and Felix, like they both came from Australia, and so they have this like tight bond around that. And so losing Felix, which like everybody got criticized. Chan got criticized. Hyunjin got criticized as like doing the lyrics bad. Woojin got criticized as like not fulfilling his role as a lead singer, not standing out, not having confidence, not having good vocalization. Like everything was wrong with Woojin, which I was just like, Jesus. But like, we just watched it, and I'm sitting here going, and I thought this the first time I watched it. I'm like, but they did great.
Yeah.
They made a couple of mistakes, but everything else, like, it sounded good. They really caught the crowd. Like, everything went well. So, like, this was the harshest criticism of the whole show, and I feel like it was the best performance.
Yeah, and it's crazy to me, too, because, like, I have, in the past, been critical of Woojin.
Right.
And maybe unfairly, right?
Yeah.
But no, like I have echoed these exact criticisms from JYP about Woojin in the past, and yet in this episode, I did not feel that at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the fuck JYP was smoking that day, but I thought Woojin did great.
Yeah, it's just something that's just hard for us to see, right? Because we're not,
sitting in a room watching a TV?
robots. Right, yeah. We're not sitting in the room watching the direct feed. We're watching a recording of them with the crowd and everything else. And so like we're seeing how they connect, not just with the audience, but with the camera too. Like you get to see them connect, but like they're staring at it much more coldly and like listening, like, are you on key perfectly at all times?
Yeah.
Does your vocalization come through your nose towards the microphone? I don't know. It's like a JYP thing. He wants you to, your like voice to like be held, your singing to be held in your face and come through.
Yeah.
I don't understand what that means yet. I'm not sure what that means. But
you gotta be crispy with your vocals.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So he like had this. He was just like,
you know what I mean by that?
Crispy with your vocals?
Yeah.
No.
Say the word crisp.
Crisp.
Have you noticed that when you say the word crisp, you carry it from the back of your mouth to the front?
Crisp. Do I notice that?
The word crisp starts in the back,
crisp,
and then rolls all the way forward until you make the p with your lips.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
You gotta get the whole mouth in there.
But there's no glottal stop. Anyway. Anyway.
I guess you could start like
oh man.
Anyway,
I'm glad we're getting some laughing in now. All right, so
yeah.
So they get to the criticism of Felix, and they say his biggest problem is that he doesn't speak Korean.
Right.
And right now, it's the Korean language itself. That's his biggest problem. And he's like, yeah, I know. and then his rap parts are not convincing because he doesn't understand what he's saying. So JYP thinks it's going to take too long for you to be able to understand Korean enough for those meanings to come through. And so he goes, so
you're gone.
You've been eliminated from the group.
Right.
I'm sorry, but you've been eliminated from the group. And then, okay, small detail, but when Minho was eliminated, JYP stands up, he walks up to him and tells him, you did great. You just didn't have enough training yet. You did great. And he goes over, he shakes his hand, he like pats him on the shoulder. He's like, you're going to be fine. You did great. You just didn't have enough training yet." And then leaves. But in this time, he goes like, "Sorry, you're not going to be able to continue together with the group." And then he just books it. He like fucks out of the room, and that's it. And I'm like, "What? No handshake? What? Where's the handshake?" Yeah. Minho got a handshake. My boy Felix needs a handshake. You're gonna eliminate him? Come on, man. What's your deal?
Yeah. Well,
is he afraid that the Australian's gonna come out and is gonna punch him right in the face? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that what Australians do?
I don't know. Maybe he's gonna like, I don't know. Felix is gonna do a bird call, calling some magpies to swoop down.
Yep. So he's eliminated. JYP books it, and everybody's fucking sad again. Things I noticed about this, and I rewatched it the same night that we watched it. I went and watched it again with Jeanette because I shouldn't be the only one in this house to cry. And Jisung was the first member to go up and give him a hug, to give Felix a hug. He ran right to him, gave him a hug as soon as JYP left. And that's the same thing that happened when Minho was eliminated. Mm-hmm. Jisung is like, he's like really making his mark as like, I'm the emotional guy. I'm here for your emotional support, right? Yeah. Like he's going to be the first person to run up to you and give you a hug when you need it. Bangchan is, it's so crazy how similar the reactions were, right? Because like, which it makes sense, right? Like it's the same thing. It's just happening to another member. But like Sungmin is like crying to himself. You see the tears like streaming down his face.
Yeah.
Bangchan is crying, but he's just got his head just lowered, like just probably thinking to himself about like what he could have done better. Like what could I have done better? What could I have done different? Ah, man. Let me get the exact phrasing here of what Chan says to him.
He says in English, right? He's he's dropping the Korean thing. He's saying in English. What does he say? He says,
I got it.
Call me up. Yeah, I'll always be here for you.
That's pretty close. It's not exactly what he says, but I'll give it to you. That's pretty close. He says, always find me, yeah?
Yeah.
And then his voice breaks a little bit. And he says, I'm not going to leave you behind.
Right.
And they're just, yeah. He just like nods and everybody's crying. I'm not surprised, but like when he goes over to hug Changbin has just lost it. Changbin is literally in a fetal position on the floor and he's sobbing.
Yeah.
Like he is like who I consider to be like one of the most like manly, tough, hard, like dark members, but he is like a baby crying like crazy. And Chan is really trying to hold it together while everyone else is sobbing. Like they're all sobbing together. And so through all this, obviously I've seen this before. I knew it was coming. I was fine. I was like, it's really hard to watch them be sad and stuff. And then they cut to Felix has a little confessional. He says he wanted to debut together in the end, obviously.
Yeah.
But, and then, he gets to hug Hyunjin a little bit. Hyunjin tells him not to cry. Hyunjin suddenly being the most, guy who's like, no, don't cry. You're fine. You're okay. And then they cut to his thing, and he says he describes Felix as like being like a child, like he's got a warm heart and you have to care for him, and like they like show like a montage to make you even more sad and miss him even more, and showing us fun moments with Felix that we didn't see on the show. I mean, we saw the kiss with Changbin, but they show like just when they're in the practice room, like he's the guy that makes everyone laugh and keeps it light. He's the mood maker, right? Yeah. Like he's the guy that everybody looks to, and also the members say like he was the hardest working one of us. He worked harder than anybody else. So. And that's hard to believe, right? Because like
we've seen
Bangchan like just do amazing work.
Yeah.
So this is what got me, right? They go to a confessional with Chan, and in English, I lost it right here. Oh my God. He's crying. He's alone, so he's finally letting himself cry. And he goes, let me get the exact words here. Even when you're really struggling, I should have been there.
Yeah.
And then he just breaks down and cries. And that's it. That's all it took. And I was like, I'm done. I had tears.
Yeah.
They were coming down my face. Like, it doesn't matter that this is the third time I've seen this show, right? Last time, Minho, I was able to get through it. No problem. Dry eyes. We're all good. This time, fuck me. Chan saying that while sobbing got me so hard. Not hard, but like it.
Reasons why Big Chan gets me rock hard. I mean, right after the episode, right, like I hopped back into Discord with Anna and Kelly, and I was like, yeah, I cried. I mean, like, how could you not? You know,
no, for real, yeah. It was rough. I couldn't deal. And then, of course, like I said, I wasn't going to by myself, so I made Jeanette watch it again, and then she cried. So then I felt better. I felt better making my wife cry. You know, like it's good. The couples who cry together stay together. That's what they say, right? Is that a thing? I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I've cried in the presence of Anna before, twice.
Yeah, while watching. Oh, great.
Huh?
After laughing, I get a notification from my watch. Loud environment. Sound levels hit 90 decibels.
Oh my god.
Sorry. Jesus.
I can remember on 2 occasions in which I've cried in front of Anna. The first time, pretty emotional, was when she was crying in front of me for the first time because we were at the hospital visiting her dying father.
Oh, yeah. That'll do it.
And the second time was when I was drunk, talking about how we watched what did we watch? We watched this movie called Simon, I think, or something like that.
Simon.
Oh man, I don't know what the movie's called, but it's about this kid who's like closeted, you know.
Oh, okay.
And like having an online relationship with somebody that he goes to school with, like in high school. And I just remember like Anna will talk about this too. She's like, you were really emotional about this. Because I was like, I don't know, like I'm thinking about like when we have kids, I want to make sure that if they're gay, they can come out to me. It's fine.
Oh, that's funny. That's so cute. Yeah, you know, like I wasn't much of a crier. Still am not.
Yeah.
Generally, right?
Yeah.
Like even growing up and stuff, you know, we grew up in the 90s and stuff where like there were still a lot of like media and everything that basically like put out there like, well, real men don't cry.
Yeah.
They instead hold all that shit in and then have heart attacks in their 50s. That's what they do. That's what real men do.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but that's always like, that's still like stuck with me, which like, even though like I'm an adult, I know that that's probably a problem. There's been like events, right? When my mom died, I cried a lot.
Oh yeah, dude, yeah. Like I've seen you cry about that specifically, right? So like,
yeah.
No shit.
But like after I had kids, now like a sad commercial comes on, and I'm just like, I'm like tearing up. I'm like, I don't know if that dog's gonna get home.
Yeah.
Like it is a switch that got flipped as soon as you have kids. It's like, I thought I was emotional when Logan was born, but like I thought like, you know, the story that everyone tells themselves is like, you're going to cry. And like, yeah, I almost did because like he wasn't breathing when he came out.
Oh.
But I had to hold it together. Jeanette was crying. I had to hold it together because like I could see over all the nurses and hear them talking while Jeanette had like just given birth to a baby. So she wasn't paying attention, but I'm like looking at them and they're just like not breathing. We got to intubate, blah, 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 blah. Like all the stuff, and I'm just like, my baby's not breathing. My baby's not breathing. And so I'm just like locked into this situation where like, I don't want to freak out Jeanette. She just gave birth to a baby, but my baby isn't breathing.
Right.
And then like he like coughed up some mucus after they like opened up the intubation thing. This was my favorite part of it. They open up this thing. It's like a sterilized thing to like intubate a baby. They open it and he coughs and spits out some mucus, and then he's breathing and he's doing fine, right? And then like the nurse who just opened it up was like, "Can we reuse this?" And they're like, "No, once it's opened, we can't use it." And he's just like, "Oh." He's just like, "Oh, what a waste." Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
right.
yeah, I was just like, I was alone in that for like that moment, and I still think about it because it's just like, it's terrifying.
Right.
Like, having
Of course.
kids is terrifying. My second child came out through C-section. I'm in an operating room and there's blood all over the floor. Like, come on.
My God.
It is crazy. All right. Having kids is crazy, but having kids is cute. So
Right.
yeah, it's fun. I guess what I mean is having kids, like them being born is crazy.
Right.
Having kids, like raising them is
Yeah.
fun. So
Well,
yeah.
I think there's one element there that adds to it.
Yeah.
When you say that having kids, like as in being the parent of kids,
Yeah.
is cute,
Mm-hmm.
it really goes a long way when your kids are cute. Which your
Well.
kids are cute.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Imagine being the parent of an ugly baby.
Well, like, the thing about ugly babies is that most of the time they grow into their bodies,
Yeah.
So,
maybe I don't know.
Because
but-
I have a perfect example, and
Okay.
I'm sorry, adult Macaulay Culkin, but he was a cute kid. But
Yeah.
adult Macaulay Culkin, I like him. I think he's
Oh
funny.
yeah,
and
he's
stuff.
so funny.
He's really funny. I've heard him on podcasts and stuff, but like
Yeah.
he's not that cute kid.
He doesn't need to be. All right.
He
That
doesn't.
dude's-
You're right.
he's-
It's fine. He's done fine for himself.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of friends, and I think he's even engaged or getting married or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not following his life, but I do know that, like, yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, he's not the most conventionally attractive guy, but hey,
Right.
at least he's hilarious, and so he's got
Right.
that going
Yeah,
for him.
yeah.
That's what I got going for me. So like,
Right. Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if I told you. I'm sure I told you this, but I tell people all the time. I talk about Logan sometimes. I mean, not like all the time. I'm not just like fawning
Whoa.
over Logan all the time, but
I mean, I do.
One thing that stands out to me, and maybe it's because I have, like an emotional investment in Logan, and
Mhm.
you and Jeanette, but like I've never really looked at any picture of a baby or a kid really and been like, oh yeah, that's a cute kid. But even like day one Logan, I
Yeah.
thought was adorable.
He was tiny.
He was tiny, but he was
Yeah.
cute. I mean, he was a cute baby. Day one, which is I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like unusual, and still like adorable as ever. And Michelle is, also very, very cute. And so like I don't know. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that I get to say that about very many kids that I've seen.
Take that, ugly kids.
Yeah. But Logan and Michelle are like the most adorable kids I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well,
and
thank
so,
you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, good job. You and Jeanette really nailed it. But
Well, that's how you make kids.
but yeah, so like being the parent of cute kids for sure is cute.
Yeah.
And I'm happy.
It is. Yeah. Well, thank you. And on that note, I guess we should end this week's episode. Thank
Yeah.
you for listening. And we only have 2 episodes left of the survival show. And then we'll be opening up our copies of Mixtape and seeing who we got. What pulls do we got?
Hell yeah.
It's going to be good. Yeah, I'm excited. These next 2 episodes are going to be really good. And the last episode is a marathon. It's longer than how long we've recorded so far. So that's pretty
Jeez.
good.
All right.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next week, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Bye.